Okay, so for the next part of this lesson, we're going to work with some layers and using the pencil tool again. Where'd it go? There we go, under the shaper tool, into the pencil tool. Um, we're going to use that to do some tracing, and I want you to do some tracing over a photograph so that you get used to how the pencil works. Also to give you a little bit of just a little bit of structure, and to so you don't have to really be that creative, but you'll also see what kind of effects you'll have with the line work itself within Illustrator. So as we have Illustrator open here, I'm going to go to File, and I'm going to Place, and I'm going to my desktop, and I think this is the image. Yep, that's the image I want to use. That's Maurizio. And I'm going to click it on the desktop. You see I have my icon there, so I'm clicking and I'm holding down on the desktop before. I am not just letting it up and letting the image drop by itself, because that'll be huge. It's a very big image. So I'm clicking and I'm going to drag it. So I'm clicking and I'm dragging it to the other edge of the artboard here. And there's my image of Maurizio. I'm going to go to my layers palette. And this is going to be my base. So I'm going to lock this layer. It's right next to the little eyeball there. So you can see it locks it. And you can also see what just happened. When I unlock it and I select it, if I click on it, it has that X across there. That means that's an active layer. It also shows you the anchor points, noting that it is activated right then and there. And once I click on this lock here, it locks it. So now this is not going to move. It's not going anywhere. It's also telling me that because it's locked, I can't do anything. That little pencil there and the little circle with a slash through it, that's telling me it is not usable, which is fine because I'm not going to do anything on that layer anyway. Now I'm going to create a new layer under the little menu, new layer. Sorry that it's cut off there for a second. And I'm going to name this one Drawing. And it's really important to be organized with layers and to work with layers in Illustrator, because as you do more complex drawings and you add color and fill and lots of shading and different elements, they can get very confusing as this is line based. And you can do everything on one layer, all of your illustration, all of your painting, if you will, your logo design, whatever it happens to be. But these things, while they can also move within the layer, like in Photoshop, once you do something on a layer, the whole layer moves. Things don't move individually. You can move things individually in Illustrator, but as you start working with Illustrator, you'll see how confusing that can be if you don't get very organized from the beginning and plan out how you're going to attack. Like say this project, we're going to do a trace around Maurizio, and then we're going to fill it with some color. So I have my drawing, basically my tracing layer, and then I'm going to add a color layer. And so let's get into drawing Maurizio, tracing him with the pencil tool that's under the shaper tool. And I have a fill in here. I don't want it to be filled, so I'm going to get rid of the fill. I'm going to click on that stroke, and I do want it to be another color. I want it to be something nice and bright so I can see it as I'm doing it. And I also want to change the aspects of this stroke. So it's 1 point. I want it to be more than that, maybe 3 for now. Actually, no, 2. And I want to have rounded end caps, and I want to have rounded corners too. So to start, I'm going to zoom in. And this is going to be creating lines, not objects. So these are not fillable. These are literally just lines in your drawing. So I'm going to come in here. I'm going to mimic his fur a little bit with a little rippled line. And you see how when I'm actually pretty far out. Let me zoom out here. So it looks pretty pretty smooth, and I don't want it to be smooth. So the key to getting a more ripple line is to zoom in and create more detail. So I'm going to Command Z that. I'm going to go back to my pencil tool. I'm really going to zoom in because I really want this effect of the fur. And I don't have to be that accurate. I mean, this is an example. Whoops. So like that. Good, good, good. I'm going to keep going. And it's just a rough idea. As I keep going, so now it's going to get a little bit more jumpy here with that bit of fur that's more erratic and jagged as it comes out. As you can tell, I can't really see everything that I'm doing from, you know, like a real drawing perspective. It's literally just going around the shape, that outline of him. I get to see his little eye though. And then creating more of the line. As it smooths out, I'm going to leave it there, zoom out, and I can go back to my layer and I can turn off the base layer. You know, that's my what I'm tracing, and I can see that's what my line actually looks like when it's not activated. And you'll see as we go further that it's going to be it gives it personality. You know, like it definitely has different aspects that make it that make it something special, and you can work on that, you know, work on your style and make it as you wish. You know, like the more you work at it, the more successful you'll be in accomplishing the stuff that you want to create. All right, and so that line is going to end there. I'm going to start a new line. So if I was using the pen tool, it would not allow me to do this. It would force me to create an actual object instead of just a line. So those are the sort of subtle differences of using the pencil tool and the pen tool. And again, I'm doing this really quickly just for an example, and I don't want to take up too much time in this video because, you know, who wants to sit around watching videos all day? Well, maybe. Anyway, we're getting close to the end. Okay, and then we'll finish up there. I could be a little more accurate, right? All right, we zoom out. We'll turn off this layer. Whoops, I unlocked it. Turn it off. And yeah, that's fair enough. All right, now I want to go back in and illustrate his face with the pencil tool. And how you create your lines and where you decide to create your lines is really where you get the real personality of your drawings. He looks a little crazy there, right? And again, this is really about becoming comfortable with using Illustrator and getting comfortable with what you can do with the pencil tool and line work. It's not, whoops, that's one of the things that happens. Okay, I think I tried to show that to you in class. Sometimes if you have a line that you just created and it's still active and you try to create another line that's too close, it will try to rewrite that line instead of creating a new line. So actually that's not as accurate as I want it to be. There we go. And let's see what that looks like. Yeah, that's good. But I also, at this point, I want to put some color in here. So let me do a little bit on this, the ruff of his neck, and maybe his collar. This is actually also really great for blind contour drawings, so I highly recommend trying to do a few of those. The result, see this, that's what I was talking about, where the line disappears, it tries to recreate it when I'm too close to the other one. So let's see if I can do that. Okay. But yeah, you can get some really good stuff going on as far as like blind contour drawings. Cool. So now I'm going to create another layer, brand new layer, and I'm going to call that color. And this is going to be I'm going to use the pen tool here to create different shades for the color of Maurizio, his nose, his, like the shadows on his nose up here, and then on his forehead, maybe the color in his ears is a little bit different. But I'm also going to take that layer and I'm going to drag it underneath the drawing. And first off, like I lock that drawing layer, first off, I'm going to go to my pen tool right there. And I'm also going to make sure I have a stroke, but I'm going to change the color. Whoops, wrong one. Change the color to something completely different.